Happy Red Friday, everyone. It's Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care. Happy Red Friday. Just to let you guys know, guess what I found? Red Friday shirts. You can look like this fat guy here and get your Red Friday shirt. We ask for a $10 donation. Well, let's just say a $15 donation, $5 for shipping. If you live in the Northern Colorado area, come and pick it up, and then it's only $10. You can get your Red Friday. Always support our troops on Friday by wearing red. Remember, everyone deployed. Very special show today. Many of you guys know this show, Community Impact, is on a little bit of a hiatus because we're trying to make sure that we put out the best show possible. But today is a very, very special occasion because we have two brand new family members that we get to bring you. We get to bring you a brand new partner, and we get to bring you a brand new mission partner, giving partner and a mission partner. So we're going to introduce them today by starting out by introducing you to Keith from Once Upon a Time, Inc. Very, very unique nonprofit in New York where they're taking and they're teaching business while teaching arts. Look, any of us who are in business can tell you that there's not a lot of difference there, okay? We like putting our own spin on our businesses. Well, that's being an artist. That's what it is, okay? You know, artists take and do different things all the time, trying to create and improve their craft. That's what we're trying to do all the time. Up in the corner, you will see the QR code for Once Upon a Time, Inc. All you got to do is scan that little QR code with the little telephone thingy there, add it to your homepage. When you add it to your homepage, then every purchase that you make with one of our giving partners, in which you're going to meet Publio a little bit later in the show, every time that you shop with a brand new partner, you can give to great organizations like Once Upon a Time. So if you want to find more of those wonderful, wonderful mission partners, just simply go to the website communitypayitforward.us/mission partners. Communitypayitforward/mission partners. But once again, this is a brand new, he just signed with us yesterday. This is Keith, the president, and the gentleman who has taken over Once Upon a Time, Inc. We recorded this morning, and it's so important. I wanted to get it out to you guys right away. So here we go. This is our interview with Keith, the founder. I'm sorry, not the founder, but the president of Once Upon a Time, Inc. Well, of course, I gotta, get there, but here we go. Love doing this. This is one of my favorite things, and you guys know this. We are introducing to you a brand new mission partner. Keith was introduced to me the other day by a great mutual friend, and when we went through and we did our little bit of a phone call, Keith was very receptive, and he is allowing us to become part of what he is doing, which means the world to me because we can now tell his story. Keith, you are the president, correct? Of
the chairman of
of the Once Upon a Time Inc.
That's right.
Please tell us about the history, because you're not the founder. This has been around for a little bit.
Yep.
But you've picked up the mantle and went with this organization, which to me is a fantastic organization because you're involving arts.
It's a strange story a little bit. There was a woman and a man named Terry and Mark Arbell, and they were a married couple, never had any children or anything like that, but they the labor of love was this business, and for 40 years they put this together, where Terry was a ballet ballerina and a teacher, and then she was also a New York State certified teacher. And so, well, her dream was to bring ballet and the arts and everything to this community here in Richmond Hill, New York. And they started at a different location where I was a student of theirs, actually. I played violin for 2 years over there, and then they had a dance summer course where my parents put my brother and I in there, and I spent the thing. And Terry said to me at the end of that course, she said, you could really do ballet. And I'm just like, really? Yeah. She's like, yeah. She goes, yeah, you're pretty good at it. I'm like, okay, so what do I have to do? And she says, well, you have to, you pay tuition, and then you have to wear the uniform. I'm like, what's the uniform? And she said, these tights. And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And, and that was the beginning of our meeting and whatever. But I left for a while. In the meantime, I got married, had a son, saw that they had built this building, not built it, but bought it, and moved locations. And my son actually had a summer in here too, and it wasn't with ballet; it was a different dance. But he had some time, and he enjoyed his time, but it wasn't for him. But the stories of people who come in here, I mean, just the people who come back and talk to me about the influence that this place had on them over the years. Even not dance students, right? She had some daycare coming out of here for a little while and things like that to help serve the community. And the stories are just heartwarming, because they say these people were my first influence. I was here more days than I was here more hours in a day than sometimes with my own family. And it was just something that really meant something to them, because they really cared about the kids, and so fast forward to today, and unfortunately about 2 years ago Terry passed, and about a year ago Mark passed. And the director, or the former chairman, the one right before me, he was working on this to maybe sell the building and make a foundation, but we don't know. He didn't know what he wanted to do exactly, so we were fixing it up a bit. And then he passed about 7 weeks ago, and it's an unfortunate place, sort of, for me to have to step in a sense. But I really do take it on with a lot of reverence, because those Terry and Mark, and then Chris, they really poured their heart and soul into this place a bit, and I hate to see it not serve this community after all that work.
You said one thing that I find very important, because you hear it from everyone who is successful. And you said the words, I spend more time here than I do with my family.
Yeah.
That's something you hear from people who are successful, right?
Yep, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of crossover. The folks that we're targeting now are like 17, 18 and above, because what we'd like is to have a group of people come in who are on the verge, of adulthood, right? I mean, it's great when you can get them young and you can influence them, and we do want to do some of that. But I'm in the process of getting a dance teacher or teachers to fulfill that need. But the thing that I always thought was kind of more important than even the dance itself was how it affected the youth, how it affected them, and how they grew up with learning discipline and other things, in order to help them with their life. And the program that we've developed now for it's a 90-day program. where we're going to have folks come in here and actually learn about the mindset of being successful to start off with, and learn about the habits that they, building good habits, and how those habits turn into what your life becomes. And it's just like, with the arts, when I tell people we've combined the arts and business, it's a little confusing to them, because they think, oh, the arts are all creatives, but there's a business around being an actor, being a musician, being a dancer, right? And if we can help them learn the stuff just a little bit, mostly with mindset and some skills, how to communicate and things like that, if we can help them do that while they learn their dance, while they learn their art, then I think we're setting them up for a better future, And if they're looking to, say, create a business out of being a dancer, and we can show them that, there was an example I love to use, which is being a comedian, right? Jerry Seinfeld came on one time and he says, being a comedian is not just fun and games. It's real work, and you have to work and write jokes for 1 hour a day minimum. And dance and everything else is the same way. You have to practice. You have to dedicate your time. And I've seen too many struggling dancers and actors to know that if you don't take it seriously and you don't have a plan, it becomes a more of a dream than it is a business. And a lot of people, they won't make it if they don't take it seriously and they don't have some skills. I liken it to being a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, who they learn one skill, but then you try to make a practice out of it, right? You go and build a practice, and they don't know how to market themselves as a business. They don't know how to hire a team that will help them and support them. They don't know how to do the books or anything like that. So if we can teach some of that to these, now adults who are being thrown into the world, we're giving them a step up.
Don't you really depend on your creativity as a business person anyway? Don't you want, and this is coming from a guy who, I created something a little bit different. I'm not going to say that I used arts, but I used here. Let me put this up, because I think this is very fitting to what we're talking about right now. All great stories of wonder, inspiration, and imagination begin with once upon a time. I think that all really successful and really ambitious business people need to use their imagination. Don't you?
Absolutely. There's a tremendous amount of creativity that's required just to make the kinds of plans that go into action. And in the military, when we had a thing called the military decision-making process, and it revolved loosely around sort of the engineering process, right? You figure out what your goal is, you figure out the resources you have or would like to have, if you can resource them in time, you do some planning around that, you make some courses of action, and then you turn around and you sort of pick one and then war game that, and then practice it and try it out, and then move on to actually execute, and then you review. And that process alone is one of the things that I think it's a process, and people think that process means lack of creativity, but there's so much creativity in that process, so I think people need to learn that.
Let's talk about this wonderful group of people you have right down here. Are these people that you brought on, or are these people that are left over from the old regime?
These are people that I've worked with in the past, and I'm bringing their stories to once upon a time, because quite literally, they are the kind of people that we're looking for. There's one more that I didn't show here because I don't have a picture of it yet. But she started as a small child here at once upon a time. She was a little ballerina, and now she's 14 years old, and she's studying at the School of American Ballet, and that's in Manhattan. And it's a, all of these stories have something in common, which is that they struggle in some way, shape, or form. The girl that is at the School of American Ballet, she is she's not from a wealthy family, and this is ballet in particular is a not so cheap endeavor, right, over the years. And her mom takes her to all her classes and does everything that she can to make her successful. And in some way, I mean, it was great that Terry was here to start that. But this kid has really embraced it. And at 14 years old, she's a very mature 14, mentally, that she is so dedicated to her craft. She's rubbing elbows with all kinds of great teachers and other people, other students, and she really enjoys and is having a great time doing what she's doing. But without a little help, without a little guidance, I don't think she ever would have been there. It would have been just another dream.
One of the things that you and I talked about, and this is something that we talked to somebody else about a couple weeks ago, somebody who I'm going to introduce you to, he's in your neck of the woods, but we talked about, we as adults right now, we have a tendency to say, well, these kids nowadays, we don't know what they're capable of doing because we're not doing what our mentors did for us. We are lacking that patience and that giving quality that we got as kids. We're kind of pushing them aside saying, well, they can't do this, when we're not actually giving them a chance. What do we need to do, Keith, as the older generations? And I don't want to lump you in with me, I'm older than you are, but
not by much, I think.
Get off my lawn. But what do we need to do? What do we need to remember as the older generation when it comes to these new kids?
Yeah. So this is an interesting question. Last night I was talking with a friend of mine who, and we'll bring this back to business for a second. He's trying to start a new business so that he can get out of the employee mindset and that kind of thing. And what's interesting about that is everyone he talks to is telling him, just buy a big house and spend as much money as you can, and use whatever money you have that you can make a happy life for yourself with as much square footage as possible so that your family can live comfortably and blah blah. And he says, shouldn't I do something where I can live modestly and then have money to do other things, be with my family and take care of repairs if necessary and go on vacations and do that kind of stuff. And couldn't a business be part of that, and like helping me own it and do something better with it and learn and share the costs and all of that kind of stuff. And I said, what do you think you should do? Which one of those two scenarios makes sense to you, right? Do you use all your money to buy some pipe dream, or you have a plan where you can do what you want to do and do what you want to do forever, like keep on doing it. And he says, yeah, the second one. I said, okay, here's the thing. When you have dreams, when you have goals, and other people don't see them, I really believe that it's a part of like their protection of you, and it's kind of done out of love, but they really do tell you a lot of negative stuff, right? They tell you don't do it because it can't be done, or don't do it because it it doesn't sound like something that I would do.
Yeah.
And I really do think it comes from a place of love. I really do think it comes from protection, but it's really disheartening. And when these kids are, when you're becoming an adult and when you're striving to do something that others around you have not done, they just don't know what they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So the encouragement and the support and the research and the dedication to the goals and habits and plans that you have are the only thing that will get you from here to there. And just because those people don't see it, right, they can be very negative. And so you have to also learn as a youth, someone who's going to make your way, that yes, you're gonna have to make these plans and do these things, but you also are going to have to maintain your positive mindset and through all the negativity. And you will find supporters, but you'll find a lot of people who just don't believe it. Like this.
Well, I love this individual's challenge to normalcy. Okay, I love his challenge to, okay, yes, because someone once asked me what success, or if I've been successful. My first thought was, well, I haven't made a damn dime. That's not what this is about. It's about helping people.
That's right.
When you take and you look at it in another angle, you can see how successful you've been. And I think that that's so very important. Yeah. I want to do this real quick. And this is something that you shared with me. And I want to make sure that we share it with somebody else. You shared this video with me. And this is a classmate of yours. Yep. A story about his 12-year-old son who took his own life.
Yes.
I watched this just minutes ago. And I'm telling you something, my heart still hurts.
Yes.
For this family. But I am very encouraged for what this family is doing.
Yep.
But my heart, my heart is so heavy for this family. This individual, you met him. Why don't you tell us the story on how you met him?
Oh, well, we were classmates at West Point together, and honestly, we weren't super close friends, but I followed him on Facebook for a long time. And he's been I followed him, I guess, mostly because he was one of the success stories in the civilian world over all the military folks that are out there. And I liked following him to see what he, was up to lately, and it was heartbreaking one day after, during COVID when he started posting things about how he was dealing with his son's suicide, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, he was the video that you're showing is a movie called Almost 13, and it's about his son Hayden. And this guy's my friend's name is Brad Hunstable, and Brad puts his heart on his sleeve. I mean, he's I don't know if I would have had the bravery to do that, and he might not call it bravery, but he was pouring his heart out on YouTube and social media, and it was just sessions of how he wanted to warn people about the possibility of what the isolation and what the kinds of things that were going on during COVID could do to a child's mind. I mean, the saddest part about this is he was almost 13 and he was just angry. It seems like he was just angry that he had formerly broken his monitor when he was playing games, and his dad made him sort of like work to get a new one. And then just before his 13th birthday, he got a little angry and he threw the
same remote,
and broke it again. And I guess because of the isolation and because there was almost going to be a party on the video chat, there was going to be that was going to be his birthday party. I guess he took it upon himself to just go in the closet and hang himself. I mean, it was desperation, depression, all these things. And it's not, not to make light of a child's mind, and I think emotions are just stronger there. But there's tons of folks coming back from the military too that also hits my heart, that they're committing suicide because of things they've seen, or PTSD, or all these problems that have happened. And so, I mean, not to bring everything down around suicide at around the nonprofits that we're talking about, but it's if you can help in any way, help a person to see what reality looks like, right? And help them to determine that there is hope on the other end of whatever challenge that they're facing right now, whether it's through faith or through support groups or through whatever it is that it takes. If there's any way to help people like that, I think preparing them starts in when they're young, but it can happen at any time. And I wish there were more places and more videos like Almost 13 and that.
Well, it just proves that silence is deadly, and you gotta talk about it.
It is.
Keith, as we've mentioned, you have went on ahead and you've joined the Community Pay It Forward family, which means one simple thing. You see the QR code there in the corner.
I do.
When you scan this QR code, sorry about that, it's going to bring you to a link. And in that link, you've got a place where you can go and you can shop with any of our partners, our wonderful giving partners. And every time that you shop with one of those partners, if you take a picture of your receipt and add it to the form, that you can upload this form to the homepage of your phone, to where you can make every purchase count. And every time you make a purchase and you add that receipt to that form, Once Upon a Time gets a portion of your sale. So you can support Once Upon a Time every time you shop. Please, we beg of you, just make sure that every time you shop, you make a difference with not just small businesses, but wonderful organizations like Once Upon a Time. Keith, I want to welcome you to the family, and I want to thank you very much for your time this morning. How did people get a hold of you?
The easiest way to get a hold of us is just go to onceuponatimeinc.org. And my email there is just ktolly@onceuponatimeinc.org. And the number here is 718-846-9182. So lots of ways.
Well, we thank you very much for joining us, my friend. Welcome to the family, and let's do some wonderful things together. Congratulations on everything you're doing, and keep us updated, all right? Please send us any information that you have about upcoming events so we can share out with everybody.
Yep, I'm working on the website for all of that, and we'll keep you in touch. Thank you so much for having me here, and thanks for this QR code and being part of the family.
Not a problem. You know what? I love being part of what you guys do. We want to thank Keith Tolley for joining us, and we will be right back. I actually really love that song. I do. It's only a couple minutes long, but I really do like that song. Keith Tully, Once Upon a Time, Inc. You heard it. I mean, simple plan that can make a huge difference in life. Chance to help teens, kids in their early 20s, by simply teaching them the correlation between art and life. Everything in life, there's lessons to be learned. And this is one way that we can take and allow creativity and bring it into something very, very special and bring it along the way. We also, in the last couple days, we ended up getting a brand new giving partner, in which for some reason, and hey, tell me if you've heard this one before. My computer's not working. You can't get it to come up. But anyway, we brought in a new giving partner. He joined the team, and this guy, to me, is just, his joy is infectious. It truly, truly is. This guy is so easy to talk to, so cool to talk to. He really, really wants to. He really wants to make a difference, and so he joined us with hopes that he can continue to make that difference. And it's very simple. Once again, you scan this little QR code here if you want to support Once Upon a Time, Inc. Scan that code. It takes you to a drop form. You go to that drop form. Within that drop form, there's a place that you can go and find all of our partners. Partners like Publio. Say you're looking for a little bit of business coaching. You want to take and you want to strengthen your team. You want to take and you want somebody who's not a yes man. Somebody who's going to tell you the truth about your business, and somebody who's going to take and hopefully help you in business. Well, you hire somebody like Publio. He comes in, he does his job. You pay your bill. When you pay your bill, you attach that receipt to the code that shows to the area it asks for in this link, in this QR code. You send it to us. You hit send. Give us your name and your email, and you hit send. It asks you to, if you would please give us your phone number and your home address so we can send gifts every once in a while. We're not going to send people to your house, except for the mailman, hopefully. But once in a while, our great partners give us gifts, and we're able to take and share those with you guys. A portion of whatever you purchase is going to go to the cause that you purchase, that you support, you, the customer, not that I support. You as a human being don't care what I support. You care about what you support. So we want to hear from you. If you know somebody who needs help, have them get a hold of us. Because to give the support to those organizations, they must be part of the program. If you want to know why, please check out the facts section on the website, communitypayitforward.us, www.communitypayitforward.us. If you go on there, it'll tell you why they have to be in our program in order to donate to them. And there's very, very simple rules why that has to happen. But get them to join the program, and then you can donate to them over and over and over again, simply by doing the shopping you need to do. I know some of you guys have seen this over and over again, and you're like going, God, please don't tell us this story again. But this all started when when Monday will be 9 years. 9 years ago, I was run off my motorcycle, left in a ditch. I went through problems I don't want to see other people go through. I started Community Pay It Forward, which led to Community Dare to Care, which led to the PAC channels, which led to great people like my friend here, Mr. Publio Casillas. I can't say my own name, all right? So trying to say somebody else's name that's a little difficult, well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. I should know it better than that, but, you know, it is what it is. But this is Publio Casillas, and I hope you really enjoyed this one because this is another great guy, brand new to the program. He is willing to donate a portion to the cause that you love simply by using his services. I don't see him. There he is. Okay. I think we got it going now. My computer might wake up sometime this week. Very, very, very proud to welcome in Publio Casillas to the Community Pay It Forward giving partners. He is a brand new gold partner. We are thrilled to bring him in. He's got two programs he's working on, Zafiri and Davy, and we're going to be talking a little bit about all this. This is huge training, trying to get businesses up off the ground. Other than that, you don't do much. You know, you're a veteran. You know, not a whole lot to talk about, is there?
Oh, I do so much.
Yeah. Tell me, Publio, what are some of the mistakes that you see when somebody's going to start a business? What is like the main mistake that you see?
I think one of the main mistakes is not having a clear vision and not having a plan. Sometimes jumping in head first, you're going to find out there's no water, you know?
Yeah.
Little analogy, but that's what the biggest initial thing. The second thing is not having a long-term plan or strategic plan in order to continue being profitable. And I apologize for the music in the background. I got a clock that chimes every so often. But it's really important to people. They need to think about this stuff and plan it. Business plan is very important. You shouldn't start without one. And those are really the most important things that people miss, I think.
And you've got in your training, there are three aspects that you really focus on. You want to talk about those?
Yes. The main things that I'm concerned about right now really is leadership development. A lot of people, they don't understand leadership. They think that like you got to go to school to be a scientist, but you just kind of naturally become a leader. That's not true. People that we consider natural leaders are usually just charismatic people that have a tendency to have people follow them. But there's a lot of skills involved with being a leader. A leader, you have to be dynamic. You have to have vision. You have to have some sort of accountability, responsibility to the people you're leading. You know, and you have to have a purpose. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think that I see this in a lot of businesses, and this has been a bane of mine in my career outside of the military. Is that you have these companies that are very smart people, scientists or doctors or whatever, and they promote these people to management roles that are from tech roles, and they completely fail. And it's not because they're not trying, they're not motivated, they're not committed, but it's because they don't have any idea what they're doing. I mean, they can put together a widget like nobody's business, but when it comes to motivating people, supervising people, evaluating people, they don't know. And the managers or the upper managers get frustrated with them because these people get frustrated, start flailing, and then they eventually fire them or something. In the military, if you remember correctly, but you remember we went through PME. When I was an airman, they were ready to start supervising people. I went to ALS. It wasn't great, but at least pointed me in that direction. And then, as you become a junior NCO or mid-range NCO, you go to NCO Academy. Then you go to senior NCO Academy. And these things are designed to prep you for that part of the job. And golly, I've seen so many great people leave positions because they're just absolutely frustrated. They don't know what they're doing. Or worse, they're under somebody who doesn't have any of that ability and creates all kinds of frustration and struggles, and it's disheartening to me. So that's what I want to teach. One of the things about is leadership. I want to teach that. Another important part is customer service. It's funny. People talk about these things, leadership, customer service, but they don't really know what they're talking about. Being customer centric, I think, is a better word. Is it when you're talking to your customers, you should have a clear idea of what you want them to glean from or to learn from what you're giving them. There's an expectation they have of what your service or product will be. And our responsibility, one, is to make sure we manage that expectation so that it's not something we can't deliver. And so then they understand. And two, that they get what they're asking for. I see a lot of times people, they have an incorrect expectation of what the service or product will be. And then they're mad, but nobody stopped and said, hey, look, this is what I'm going to give you. This, or this, if this is what you need to go elsewhere. But also take care of that person. Say, if I got your product for you, you help them out. And customers are just like employees, which is kind of weird, but you have to manage their expectations and make sure that they're taken care of. And the third part is, of course, employee engagement. And I'm just touching on these. I'm not really going too deep. But employee engagement is very important. An aspect of leadership that people forget is followership. That's not a very common phrase. We learned in the military. They taught you, followership is important. So what you see is a lot of people that are employees, they don't know how to be led. They don't know what's expected. And what's worse is these leaders that don't know what they're doing don't put out clear expectations and then are upset when the employees don't provide or produce what they want. And nobody's happy because nobody met expectations one way or the other. And it's just, there's so much value that can be put into leadership, your customers, and your employees to make not only it efficient, but have everybody having a good time. When you communicate with somebody and you understand, it's a great moment. When you don't understand, when you get frustrated, when you like to be happy all day.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be nice. I want to ask you a question, because something that we were taught as from the very beginning of our work career is that the customer is always right. That's not true. It's not true. But the customer should always have the right to know what they want. And you need to make sure that they understand that, you can help guide them to get to what they want.
Yeah.
And is that, and I know that every customer in the world just sat there and kind of cringed when I said that. Like, wait a minute. But a customer can't come to you, or if a customer comes to you and they're expecting something that you can't provide, then it doesn't do them any good, right?
That's exactly right. And part of that's the provider's fault. We need to make sure that the expectations are clear. Good example. This is a kind of a weird example that happened when I was working in plasma. Is that in a plasma donation center, people come in, they have to be a certain level of health or healthiness to be able to donate plasma, right? A lot of people don't understand that concept is not a charity. It's actually business. You know what I'm saying? So people will come in and expect a certain amount of money, which we will broadcast. But I had one young lady that came in one time when I was working in Mississippi. Very nice young lady, very in trouble, needed some help, and she wanted to donate. And when we went through the screening process, we found out she was pregnant. She couldn't donate, because it's, of course, unhealthy for her, unhealthy for the baby. And she was in tears, and she wanted to speak to the manager, who was me. And I came out there, and she was begging me to let her donate. And what the expectation to understand was, I can't, and I wouldn't, because it would actually put her in harm's way. But that doesn't mean that my commitment to the customer ends there. So what we did is, I got together with my head nurse and my security guard, and we found out that she was homeless. We contacted the women's shelter. We got her some food. I mean, that's customer service. She wasn't, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't me only. I mean, my nurse was very helpful. My security guard went way out over the top for this poor young lady, and we took care of her because she's still our customer. Customer doesn't necessarily mean there's money changing hands. It means it's someone that we are taking care of.
See that right there, that right there, to me, being in the business that we are in together now, that's a beautiful thing, because you know what? Look, everybody comes to you for a reason.
Yeah.
We can't help everyone with what they're asking. We can always help people. We can always help people. If you delve a little bit deeper into it, I think that which is exactly what you and your cohorts did there. And that's a wonderful, wonderful story, because you were able to do more for that young lady than what she was even looking for. And that's a beautiful thing. So
it wasn't what she was looking for, but it was actually, she didn't know really what she needed,
Right. She didn't know what all was available. So education is always something great. That is so awesome.
Yeah. I wish I knew what happened to her in the long run, because I mean, you get tied up with so many people and stuff, but I always, in the back of my head, I wonder how she fared.
Now, you were in the Air Force, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your service. What are some of the things that you learned from your time in the service that you carry on today?
Actually, one of the things that I learned from the service that at first I thought was kind of silly, and then it kind of became ingrained in me when I started teaching at Keesler, was the core values. At first I thought they were just lip service, they say, service, integrity, and excellence. I was like, yeah, whatever. But it wasn't until I started teaching and I started realizing that these words have real meaning. I used to teach my students that I'd go in there and talk about when I was the NCOIC, the schoolhouse. I love going to classroom and talk to kids. It's just the guy to do. Anyway, I would tell them, I said, the core values are important because it's what we aspire to be. So I was telling them, let's look at it this way. If you are going to date somebody, would you want somebody that doesn't do things the best they can? I'm saying, it's like, if I was dating somebody and they wanted, I don't know, make dinner or wanted to mow the yard, whatever, and they half-assed it, pardon my French. I mean, would you put up with that? Or if they did everything that was self-serving, I mean, that would get old quick. Or if they lied to you all the time, I mean, who would want that around you?
Right.
So when you look at those values and you say, well, you know what? If I want those values from somebody else, I should be giving those values also. And once you do that, then everybody's absorbing the core values and they're actually doing a better service to themselves and the society as a whole. The military was very good for me, I will say. And it's not that I was like gung-ho or, when I joined, it was kind of more of a rebellion for my family. And I wasn't a, tough guy. I was a musician, I was a ladies' man at the time. You can't tell how much I've aged, but I was the dude. Anyway, it taught me a lot of things. It taught me structure, it taught me responsibility, it taught me accountability. One of the funniest things about being in the private sector, I think, is that accountability is not there. And I have no problem if I make a mistake saying, oh Lord, I made a mistake. I'll admit it and I'll try to fix it. And that blows the mind out of people who are in the private sector. They just can't accept it. It's funny to watch. I get some funny stories about it, but I won't go into all of them.
Well, let me ask you this, and I love that you brought that up. I think a lot of times when you go into a company, they try to teach you about accountability and everything else. But I think the mistake that they make is that they try to push that accountability to where you're trying to represent them. We need to represent you. We need you to represent yourself. Mm-hmm. We need you to prove who you are. That's the best way that we as business owners and business coaches, that's the best way to represent my company is you represent yourself in a great way. You need to take that accountability and show who you are, not who I am. It's my responsibility to show people who my company is. I need people to understand who you are and represent who you are, right?
Oh yeah. Well, part of the problem too is that there was another part of this whole thing is that hiring processes are terrible. I mean, you should be hiring people that instill the values that you value. You know what I'm saying? So if you do that, you don't have that problem you're talking about. You're not worried about the person expressing their own values that are wrong. Their values should at least parallel, if not mirror yours. I mean, I've seen that too, where people's values are out of whack, or they don't understand the values of the company, and in that confusion too, you have people make very weird decisions that cause big mistakes. Because I mean, when you talk about a company or a business or even a team, the leader or the owner or whatever the top person is supposed to set that, not only the strategy and the direction, but the values you're going to work inside of for that direction, you know? So if I'm doing something and my boss clearly said the values that we will remain ethical and within the law. So when I come to a problem that involves that decision making, I'm going to follow that to make that decision. If you don't, or if anything goes, you know, then you're going to be like, well, I could do this quicker if it's illegally. You know what I'm saying? You see how the values make sense? I may be getting confusing, but it's important.
Yeah, well, no, actually, and this is that actually really leads me to something, another question.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really teach values. Someone's got a value.
Right.
If they don't value the same thing that you're looking for, you can't really teach them that value. They have to have that value, don't they?
Yes and no. I mean, the values that we're talking about, we assume that people learn them from their parents. You know, your parents say, don't steal, don't, I don't know, hurt anybody, don't punch a kid in the face, whatever. But the reality of it is value itself, the word value, is something that we place value on. So if I tell my employee this is valuable, I'm creating awareness that that's valuable. Like money, for instance. I mean, if you were to give me $1 bill and I didn't know what money was, I wouldn't think it was valuable. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's important, is that with everything in life and in business, is that expectations that are clear solve a lot of this. So if you tell your employee who maybe, say that, Snuffy, Private Snuffy, has grown up in backwater, I don't know, Mississippi, where my wife's from, and he doesn't really have much, much value in some things, like that's what basic training was for. It taught us those values. It taught us the value of, shaving. I know we're both of us have all facial hair, but it taught us the value of shaving. It taught us the value of showering every day. It taught us the value of, brushing our teeth. So and that's why they started the basics of basic training, because they don't know what our values are. So they built us assuming we didn't have any. You know what I'm saying? And then we all look the same. And it's the same concept with business. I mean, if I hire people and I don't evaluate their values, or I don't take in consideration that whether they can be taught values, and I hire them, I deserve whatever chaos comes out of that.
I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, I think it's one of those things that you can train people how to do the job. You can't train people how to love the job or love their value in the job. You can always tell an employee that they're valuable to you.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
But you have to they have to feel valuable. And the only way to do that is get them in there and actually get them experiencing and have them have that connection with it.
Yeah. See, and it's very complex. You have a very good point. Is that I had a very good assistant manager work with me for a while. Now she's like a regional manager for a company. When we were working together, I asked her one day, I said, what is our job? Yes, ma'am. I said, what is our job? She said, well, our job is to get plasma. I said, no, our job is to manage these people. I said, if plasma came in on a robot and another robot took that plasma out and another robot packed it and shipped it off, we need one guy here who's a tech to fix the robots. I said, the problem is people are extremely full of variables. I mean, there's just variable. And they never, unfortunately, do things that are in their best interest all the time, which is part of economics. But the point is that our job is to manage that and to help guide them, especially as leaders. We have to guide them. My job as a manager or as a leader is to facilitate my employees to do their job. If there's an obstacle, I need to find a way to remove it. And that obstacle could be a brick, or it could be a skill or a value or whatever. I have to find a way to put that in there. So my goal is to make their value or their motives parallel to mine or the company's, or at least closely parallel. What I don't want is perpendicular. That's where it all goes south. So it's a challenge. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It really is exciting work, believe it or not.
Well, and I think one of the, this is just a personal opinion, but I think one of the best things about company is when you have individuals who have the same goal.
Yeah.
But it's a goal that they love. It's not a goal that, okay, our goal is to do our job and go home.
Yeah, that's not the goal.
Yeah, and no. But our goal is to go to work, be happy, and be fulfilled. I mean, isn't that a better company?
You should leave work having completed something, whether it be something abstract or physical, feel good about what you did and had positive social interactions all day long, right? That's what we did in school. We went out, we hung out with our friends, right? We had to do homework, we had to do schoolwork, but we still hung out with our friends.
Right.
Just nowadays, we also have a product to put out. It should be that same dynamic. If you're going to work and you hate your job because your boss is a jerk or your peers are a jerk or you don't like the work, you have to reevaluate that somewhere. Something's wrong.
Yeah, very much so. And I believe that I talked to you that, I was good at my last job. That didn't mean I liked it. And
it's true.
And it was detrimental to me. It truly was. Tell me a little bit about Zafiri. What is Zafiri?
Zafiri is business consulting. Me and another veteran, a guy named Eric, real sharp guy. He actually enlisted me into this Zafiri, and what we're doing is that our job is to go into medium-sized businesses, not necessarily small, for like 100 employees or maybe 1,000 employees that have quite a certain frame of profitability or cash flow, and help them solve these problems on a larger scale. Because what you see in some of these middle-sized businesses is that management and promotions lead to some of these things that we've talked about, where all of a sudden inefficiencies start becoming the norm. And then when that happens, you start losing profits, you start losing cash flow, the culture will crash. And no matter what anybody says, if your employees aren't happy, you're not going to be profitable. I mean, you may skirt by, but I mean, then it starts turning into more like, something like slave labor or whatever. And nobody wants that. The reality is we shouldn't want that for the managers or for the employees or even for the customers who want something that somebody made begrudgingly, So our job is going in there and we'll analyze everything about the business. We'll look at the financials, forecasts. I mean, it's way more extensive than teaching, hey, culture or that. It goes in there and makes a deep dive analysis. And our goal is to give you an unbiased analysis and the actual things that are going to help fix your business, whether you want to hear them or not. I know it sounds kind of rough, but the reality of it is a lot of times big companies even get stuck in these situations because nobody wants to be honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's little stuff like, the way it is.
Yes men have never been valuable. They've never been valuable. They truly aren't. A yes person is a yes person. That's all they are. If you don't have somebody who's going to come up to you and tell you, hey, a problem's a problem, they're not going to help you. So I love that. Tell me about Davey.
Now Davey's a little different thing. Davey's kind of a funny story. Davey's my little project I'm putting together. It's going to encompass my medical billing stuff and my personal teaching and stuff, because Davey's one of my dogs. He's a Boykin Spaniel, love him to death. He's one of the smartest animals I've ever had in my life. He's like having a little human with me, but he's cute, So he's kind of my mascot with that. But with Davey, what it is it's kind of my business persona for me doing teaching seminars and also my medical billing business. So, but the name comes from me honoring my dog. He's somewhere around here, somewhere. I don't know where he is.
Yeah, mine are over there. They're apparently trying to put holes through each other's heads or something. I don't know if anybody can hear him, but you just hear dogs, the mouse snapping right now. So, one of the things that you're obviously into is animals, and one of the missions that you love is a mission called Tired Dog Rescue. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Tired Dog Rescue is in my resume because it's actually a nonprofit 501c3 out of Mississippi that my ex-wife and I started.
Mm-hmm.
She's still running it. I bowed out when we split up, but I've always been a supporter, and my wife's a supporter too. We love dogs. They do hard work. I know when I was with Tired Dog, I have been in some crazy situations. I've got so many stories. I mean to write a book. I just haven't got around to it. I've been bit hundreds of times. I've seen all kinds of horrible things, but I've also seen some great things. It's just phenomenal. Dogs to me are very important. I find it hard to believe or stunning that people can live without them. We just got a Schnauzer recently because my 2 Schnauzers passed away, and it's like heaven on earth. He's such a riot.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, we've got ourselves a little zoo right now, along with our 2 everyday dogs. We just brought in another dog that we brought in a young man from Utah for a little bit because he was here for about a month and a half last year, and he wanted to come back and visit us, and he brought in his boxer, and it's kind of neat having another dog around, even though another dog around me, it's like, oh great, something else to trip on. So you are still working on getting everything set up, but right now if people want to get a hold of you, the best way to do that is phone?
Yes, sir. Phone and email. I prefer email because that way I have got record of it. Sometimes phone calls, people come in and I got a lot of stuff going on. And I take copious notes. I love notebooks, and I've got tons of notes I keep all the time. But those are the 2 best ways to get a hold of me. Yes. And then my Zafiri email for companies that want to get involved with that. We'll fix your problems.
All right. Well, right now we've got you at Publio at ZafiriCorp.com.
Correct.
So,
yes,
and that's what we're going to be linking you to. And tell me, what are you looking for? What right now, if somebody's sitting there right now, who needs you?
Who needs me?
Yeah.
I would say if you're either running a business or working for a business and you've got a lot of systemic problems that either you can't figure out where they're coming from, or you have an idea, but you either feel, powerless to fix them, or you're not actually sure what's going on. I mean, some of them are easy or not easy, but small. Like maybe you have a bad employee that's poisoning the whole group and you need some advice. I can help you with that too. I mean, there's a lot of methods and processes to help those employees. And sometimes people are like, just fire them or whatever. But in the past couple of jobs I've had, one of the most valuable things that I've strove for was turning around bad employees. And it's happened multiple times, and it's very, very rewarding. But the thing is that you have to come to these situations with skills. So if you're having these problems, give me a call, shoot me an email. I'd love to help. It's what I like to do. So we'll fix it for you.
Well, and again, it's amazing what a second set of eyes can do from the outside. So let's go on ahead and do this. And once again, Publio is now a gold family member. He is part of the Community Pay It Forward program. And anytime you hire him, a portion of that is going to go to supporting someone else. Your customer gets to choose who you want to support. So hire him.
Nice.
And then we've got people who ask us for help. Portion of that money is going to go to support these great people who just need a helping hand. Publio, brother,
yes,
welcome to the family. I'm
Thank you for having me, Zach.
Honored that you have joined us. The best email to get a hold of you is Publio at ZafiriCorp.com.
Yes.
All right.
My alternate email is CasillasPublio@yahoo.com. Yeah.
So there you go. Reach out to either one. You're going to be able to find it on his landing page on communitypayitforward.us. We'll be sharing that out, and you can find out more information about this wonderful man. Again, welcome to the family. We're very honored that you've come with us.
Thank you for
Let's
having
get
me.
together and let's do some great things, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey guys, we'll be right back. I want to thank every single one of you guys for joining us today. This has been Community Impact. Once again, we are on a little bit of a hiatus. We're not completely back yet. We're getting closer. When we relaunch Community Impact, we want to make it to where we have guests who are promoting events and causes from around the world and telling people about them and stuff like that. If you do have an event that you would like to talk about, get a hold of me. I control the channel. I can come on and do this whenever we need you, or you need us to. So, and right now, this was an introduction that I really felt that we needed to do today. Two wonderful men, two veterans who did wonderful things for our country and now are doing everything for wonderful, wonderful things for our community. Two men who are working very, very hard to improve our country and community. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Publio. Welcome to the family, both of you. Everybody, please make sure you love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Remember, if you're not helping anyone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Hey, let's take care of each other, all right? We're all we got. We will see you guys on Monday with Diamond Drip talking about the benefits she found in mushrooms on Footprints Forward. Remember, Footprints Forward is not going to be, look, you're not going to agree with everything, okay? There's a lot of science out there talking about the benefits of mushrooms for medical reasons, okay? I understand there's people out there who use them for non-medical reasons. I know quite a few people who use them for recreational. We're not condoning that. On the same hand, I'm also not going to sit here and I'm not going to tell you not to do it. It's not my choice. What we are going to do is we're going to play an host to people who have experienced a reaction from a resource that deals with mental health and suicide ideation. Diamond Drip had this. She had this mental health problem. She found relief with mushrooms. I encourage you. Don't just poo-poo it. Don't just kick it out there because you're staunchly against drugs. We're not promoting drug use. But damn it, we're going to do everything we can to promote healthy people. Happy people. Shiny, happy people just came into my head. Gotta love REM. Now I can't get it out of my head. Please join us on Monday, 11 Eastern, 9 Mountain, for Footprints Forward Diamond Drip. Again, come join us. See what she has to say. We're not telling you that this is what's best for you. You tell us what's best for you. We'll get it on and we'll talk about that as well. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PACT channels. Please take care of each other. We're all we got. It's just all there is to it. We're all we got. And it would have worked better if I was ready to do this.